The Santa Clarita Valley, centered around the district of Newhall, is known as the filmed entertainment capital of Southern California. That's why it's nicknamed Newhallywood, as in Newhallywood. You get it right?
Okay, sure. There are other types of entertainment that come out of the valley.
That's right, Bill. And tonight we're going to meet a man who runs a very popular independent radio station right here in the area.
That's right. It's called KHUG, and it's been around for a long time with lots and lots of passionate listeners.
And we get to meet the man behind the music right here on SCV in the Movies. Well, welcome, friends, to something a bit unusual for our show.
That's right. We're going to tap into the world of radio and get to meet the man behind the independent station KHUG that broadcasts right here in the valley.
I'm E.J. Stevens.
And I'm Bill West. And tonight we'll get to know Henry Urick, who is the man behind KHUG, which broadcasts on 97.5 on the FM dial and has done so for many years. And miraculously, it's been done without a single commercial.
So it's our pleasure to welcome Henry Urick to SCV in the Movies. Henry,
thank you
so much.
It's an honor to be here. I appreciate your inviting me.
We've been trying to do this for a while now. It's finally good to get you here.
Now a lot of people don't know about KHUG. What kind of a station is it? What do you play on the station?
Well, KHUG is all music all the time, 24/7.
Wow.
And
who's running the station? You're here.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of runs by itself, like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps on going.
You didn't play a really long track or something.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, back in the day when DJs, it was all on record, and they would have to run around the corner. They'd put on a really long track.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey Jude for the 8th time today.
In the Gata DeVita was always great for running to the bathroom. I remember that when I did radio,
Yeah, but, well, KHUG is a non-profit station, and it'll be 7 years this January.
Wow.
That it's been on the air, and I guess it's run about 56,000 continuous back-to-back hours without any commercials.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
exactly.
It just adds up.
Wow.
So now, tell us your background. I mean, were you a radio guy? I mean, how did you get involved in this?
I was actually, when I was in college, I worked at a commercial FM station, and it rocked out, and I was a part of that scene. But I minored in broadcasting, and what I did was to start out in television in the master control room of a commercial TV station in York, Pennsylvania. And then I went to another station in the market and became the program director at the tender age of 25 in a top 50 market. So that was, kind of baptism by fire in a sense. And, back in those days, you just did everything. I remember we had to produce a lot of local live or local on tape shows, and I didn't like the lighting for this set, and I asked the chief engineer, hey, can you give me some tips on lighting? And he handed me the Sylvania lighting handbook, and he said, read it, kid.
He gave you a really big lighter for your cigarette, right? Hold up there.
But so I read this book, and that's how I learned how to light sets.
Okay.
It's amazing. But that goes back into the 70s. And Then I became a broadcast Bedouin.
Okay.
Going from Lancaster, Pennsylvania to Flint, Michigan,
Oh, wow.
to Sacramento, and then I finally found my way to Los Angeles. And my last job in broadcasting was the VP of marketing for Tribune Entertainment, the Tribune stations.
Right.
One of the larger, before it
Yeah.
was absorbed into a larger group, it was one of the larger broadcast groups in the country.
Right. Right. Out of Chicago, they did a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, it was.
WGN
Tribune
and
started
everything, yeah.
at WGN in Chicago.
So that was still TV. When you say broadcast, I'm thinking radio, TV, but
It
you
was
said
all
lighting.
TV.
So
It was all TV.
Wow.
And I worked on the KTLA lot
Okay.
on Sunset. And then I segued into some other businesses that were kind of allied to broadcasting. But there was a time on a Father's Day, my son, who was very active in community radio, presented me with a construction permit for a new FM station here in the Santa Clarita Valley. And I said, oh, thanks, I think, you know, because I knew how much work was involved. So it was a little intimidating, a little foreboding there to think about putting on an FM radio station. But as it turns out, it's not as difficult now as it was back in the analog days.
Okay. So when you say, so basically from the FCC, you got the license to do the station, right?
How that works out is when you apply for a license, if the license is granted, the first thing the FCC gives you is a construction permit.
Okay.
And that's a permission to build a radio station and put it on the air. And then the first day you go on the air, you advise the FCC, hey, we just went on the air, and then they send you the license.
Oh, really?
really, after you've gone on
That
the
seems
air.
a little backwards.
Well, the construction permit actually gives you permission to start broadcasting.
Now, since this wasn't a commercial license, correct?
That's correct.
So
right.
there's a different name for that type of license, correct?
Well, this particular class of licenses is fairly new, in the of all the FM and AM radio stations that are on the air. These are community radio stations, and they're limited by power. They're called LPFMs, low power FM radio stations, and
So there's like a limit to the amount of wattage you can put out there?
yeah, it's 100 watts.
100 watts.
What would
okay.
happen, I gotta know, if you snuck in there and cranked it up to 250 watts? Would Men in Black come after you? Or?
Yeah, yes. A bunch of cars would show up, and they'd knock on the door and say, hi, we're from the FCC.
And remember this radio station you used to run?
Yeah, right.
I'm dying to know how you got the call letters KHUG, because that seems like, that's great. It's just something that you can pronounce is always good.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, my name is Henry G. Urick, and my monogram is HUG.
Oh.
And, but what is more amazing is my son suggested that. And I actually preferred KZAP.
KZAP?
And I wanted to go with KZAP. In fact, for 3 days, it was KZAP.
Okay.
But because I initially applied for KZAP, but then thought better of it and applied for KHUG. But the FCC didn't approve KHUG until 3 days being on the air.
Okay.
So were you K-Zap during those 3 days? Or?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So the first 3 days of KHUG was KZAP.
All right.
I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like Santa Clarita fits better with Hug than Zap. I don't know.
I think they're both winners. I like both those names. That's great. So
Yeah.
so now, correct me if I'm wrong. Then I mean so anybody theoretically could go and ask the FCC for one of these low power stations.
Well, it's a process.
Okay.
You couldn't.
There are.
Well, I can't get a real ID card.
Well, the FCC has windows in which you can file these applications.
Okay.
And I think it's been about 8 or 9 years since the FCC had a window for you to
Really?
apply.
I mean, there's only so many stations.
Well,
you can
especially
put out
in
there,
Southern
right?
California, there aren't many channels available because there's a technical aspect to locating a radio station on a frequency, and that is, well, the frequency that you're on, but the next two adjacent frequencies, you have to figure that, the spacing out on that, because it's a whole interference thing.
Right.
So, like 97.5, but you also have to engineer 97.7 and 97.9, and then the same way for below that.
Did you get to pick that frequency, or did they pick it for you?
No, actually, you have to engineer that and
Into your transmitter.
do an engineering survey of the closest radio stations on 97.5. And there are two. One in San Bernardino County.
There's a Spanish language one too, because at some point when I'm going
That's
to Burbank,
the 97.5.
okay, at some point I'm like, I know when I've left
Yeah,
KHUG.
it's in Riverside.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then there's another 97.5. It's a religious station. It's in Goleta,
Oh, wow.
just north of
Okay.
Santa Barbara.
Right.
Yeah, and so 97.5 in the Santa Clarita Valley is just spaced perfectly that it's away from Riverside or
Gotcha.
Goleta.
Gotcha. Now, are those also nonprofits? Those other two stations, or
The
are
station in Riverside is a profit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a commercial station, and the station license in Goleta is nonprofit,
So
non-commercial.
So the FCC pretty much has to have a big map and go, okay, we can put this one here because it's not going to be
fits.
stepping over this one. And
And you actually submit all those to the FCC, and they have the purview to examine that and make sure there isn't the biggest, the first and foremost aspect to the FCC in compliance is to make sure there isn't a lot of interference on the radio band.
Okay.
So that's why stations are licensed to make sure there isn't a lot of interference.
So going back to what I was saying before, so theoretically, anybody could go when they had a window to get one of these stations. Do you have to pay a bunch to do that then? I mean,
Well, for non-profit, non-commercial stations, there is not a fee for the license.
Wow.
Commercial stations do pay a license fee. Yeah, and it's based on the market size.
KSCV, man. KSCV in the movies.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a really long call letter.
We don't have his energy.
That's right.
We would
That's
just
right.
fall on our faces.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have the people in Goleta knocking on the door, and
Yeah.
stepping all over us. Tell us about KHUG. So your son basically gave you a radio station for your
Well,
Father's
he
Day,
did
right?
he did the legwork.
Okay.
Wow.
Because he's an engineer and has an engineering. His background, he went to UC Davis and became an engineer. But the FCC considers him the Johnny Appleseed of community radio because he consulted with a lot of nonprofit groups. And I think he's put on about 40 community radio stations.
Really?
That go from Seattle to San Diego.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I think you told me that he kind of did this as just a, hey, Dad, I got something for you. What do you think?
Well, he saw me getting into a more retired, semi-retirement, you know.
And he couldn't let that happen.
He couldn't let you have
And,
fun
you
or
know, being a
anything.
broadcaster.
Okay.
And I also have some technical orientation. I have, back in the day, I received a first-class radio telephone license, which back then, before it was radio was deregulated, radio and TV stations, the operators had to have certain classes of licenses. And I started at a third class and then went up to a first-class radio telephone license, and that enabled you to operate a TV station. And that was my first job.
Okay.
I would be in master control and take the station breaks, and then go back and take the transmitter readings, you know. And if the transmitter was, you had to keep it within certain tolerances.
Sure.
And you know, the amount of power and the frequency and things like that.
Obviously, you have a technical bent, and you understand the technical side of it. Who picks the music? Is that
Well,
also
you know,
your
I do a
interest?
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
First of all, KHUG is 100% digital. And so all the digital files, KHUG rotates about 3,000 titles
Wow.
in any given week or month, and they're all rotated. And it's a very sophisticated program that takes my direction, and I put that input in. Every song has a different number of how importance, how that should be rotated. So
And you guys don't rotate a lot of stuff. I mean, I listen to KHUG for 5 hours and I'll not hear the same song twice.
well, it's true, because by definition, no song is repeated in any broadcast day.
Is that right?
Is that true? Oh.
Which
Yeah,
is
so-
totally contrary to commercial, right?
Well,
Yeah.
but KHUG, 6 o'clock in the morning begins a broadcast day. It's on 24/7, but at 6 in the morning it starts playing rock, and it's a high blend of rock music from all genre, whether it's southern rock, LA rock, I mean, all kinds.
And there's a lot of obscure things. I mean, it's like I'll hear like a Stones track that, you know, I've never heard on a commercial.
Well, the idea of KHUG goes back to the early days of rock FM radio.
Right.
And those days, the DJs had a very wide latitude of what they would play. And a lot of it was album-oriented rock.
That's right.
Deep cuts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
KHUG plays a lot of deep cuts.
You do a
And
lot of blues. Do a lot
Well,
of deep cut blues, yeah.
That's where I was going. We play a whole day of rock, and then at 8 p.m., it goes to blues. And from 8 to 6 it's blues and old school R&B. In fact, KHUG plays more blues than any other radio station in the state of California.
Is that right? Yeah. It's. I'm telling you, for those of you folks who have never listened to 97.5 in the Santa Clarita Valley, do yourself a favor and get over there, because it's the best station in the city. It's the
Well,
best.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, every station has a different mission, or it's programmed differently, and KHUG was meant to go to a time and a place that a lot of stations don't play that kind of music anymore.
But the thing that's so cool about your station, though, is it doesn't sound in any way like a non-commercial station like you would think. It's very professional. I mean, you got the jingles, you got, I mean, you don't, you do have some DJs like on the weekends, right?
Well, you know, having over 35 years in broadcasting, you know, I set up pretty high bar for KHUG.
So you wouldn't hire us, is what you're saying. Well, I understand.
That's what he said.
I don't blame you.
In a very nice way, that's what he said.
Well, maybe I would hire you. You know, it depends on your proficiencies. But
We're doomed.
but
Yes.
but even you know, I'm so blessed and so fortunate to have people who care about the station. There is a band here in the Santa Clarita Valley, Teresa James and the Rhythm Tramps.
Okay.
Teresa James is a Grammy-nominated artist. And she's one of the people that sings the jingles.
Is that right?
For
Oh,
KHUG.
wow. Yeah.
So I have a Grammy-nominated
How about that?
band doing jingles for KHUG.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Let me go back to the business side of things too. I worked in radio when I was a kid, and I was as equally proficient at radio as I am at television. So that's why I'm not doing either right now. But one thing I always wondered is when it comes to licensing the music. Okay?
Right.
Now I'm sure that's where a lot of the money goes in a station. Is there a different rate for your nonprofit?
Yes, nonprofit stations pay a different license fee to the music licensing companies. And there's BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. And they do the licensing. But also, KHUG streams 24/7 at khug.rocks. And so there's a streaming license fee that has got to be paid as well.
Oh, wow.
So there's 4 licensing organizations that KHUG has to pay the licensing fees, and that goes to the authors of the music.
I was wondering how they got paid, and if you had to sit there and write checks in your spare time, or if that's all handled through that licensing.
Yeah, and we send reports into the licensing organizations, and they pay the authors of the music.
Interesting.
Right. Now, since you have such a big catalog, would your license fee be larger than most stations? Since
No, it actually goes by the class of radio station. Now, in commercial radio stations, they have to pay by the size of the market.
Oh, okay.
So New York or Los Angeles, they pay very large license fees because the market is so large.
So if you're playing like Satisfaction on KHUG, it's at a smaller fee than like if KLOS or somebody's playing that same.
It's true.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's based on a commercial station has a greater opportunity to create revenue.
Right. And so, I mean, even though you're a nonprofit, you're still paying those bills, right?
Yeah, at a reduced rate, but it is one of the larger fees that expenses that the station has that we have to pay every year.
And you're not getting commercial revenue.
No.
So this is basically, you're writing the check still for keeping this great thing on for us.
Well, that's true. And for a couple years, KHUG has gone on the air and asked our listeners to donate, and they've been very generous.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away by the amount that radio listeners are willing to send a check to KHUG to keep it on the air, but I also can't stand begging.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's
We have no problem with that. That's how we've gotten all 7 of our viewers.
But I really, I don't know. I listen to other radio stations, of course. You know, like LAS, KPCC, and KCRW, and some of the other stations as well. And I think it's really unfortunate that nonprofit, non-commercial radio stations have such a difficult time meeting their budget.
Yeah.
And those stations, like KPCC, they're almost asking for money every day.
Yeah.
And it's hard. But again, they're doing something different. They're doing news, public affairs, whatnot. But I'm looking at, and actually I've devised a way for KHUG to finance itself in a different way. And I think I'm very excited about it. And the idea is to do music festivals and have one-day music festivals to bring in 3, 4, 5 bands and raise money that way.
Oh, that would be excellent.
Yeah.
So we might start seeing KHUG festivals.
Well, actually, I'm planning a festival. It's called Rocktoberfest.
Okay. Okay.
And Rocktoberfest is currently, it's not totally locked in, but it looks as though it's going to be Saturday, October 7th at Lake Castaic.
Excellent.
Wow.
And you broadcast in Castaic. That's where your studio is, correct?
Well, that's the city of license, yeah. And KHUG broadcasts. It has a small tower on a high ridge in Castaic, broadcasting into the Santa Clarita Valley.
So that's where the transmitter is, or that's where the station is, or both?
Everything is
Everything is right there. Wow.
Actually, it's quite unusual. KHUG is in a spare bedroom in my home. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That sounds more like it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Wolfman Jack on American Graffiti. Just so great.
Well, Wolfman Jack, that's a great story, by the way. That was a border blaster. I believe it was XERF.
In Mexico, right?
In Mexico.
Yeah.
And he was across the border in Texas, and he would do tapes.
Right.
And he would do these reel-to-reel tapes, and then they would put them in the can and go over the border
to Mexico,
and play them on this 100,000 watt border blaster.
Yeah, I grew up in Indiana, and I'd hear Mexican stations because you'd had the 50,000 watts limitation in America, but they had unlimited in Mexico. So I'd pick up Chihuahua stations as good as Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that I'm going to give you a great story. I loved radio when I was young, and I had this Zenith transoceanic radio. That I would tune in shortwave and whatnot, but I listened to AM radio as well, and I came across this radio station in Nashville, Tennessee, that played R&B and blues at night on 1520.
Okay.
And they would have these guys on, and they would play blues and R&B, and then advertise things like Randy's Record Store in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now, oddly enough, when I was, and by the way, the first time I ever heard Stormy Monday Blues by Bobby Blue Bland was listening to this 50,000 watt clear channel station in Nashville. And I was like 15, and I was in a small town called Middletown, Pennsylvania, and I went down to my record store and I said, "Gee, I'd like a copy of Stormy Monday Blues." And this, little record store said, you know, I don't
Top 40
have it,
kid.
and I don't even know how to get it.
Yeah, right.
But there is a shop that you can go into nearby Harrisburg, which was 10 miles away. So I actually hitchhiked
Oh my gosh.
10 miles into Harrisburg and then walked into this place called Martha's Turntable Record Store. And I walked in, and there's a wonderful African American woman there, and I walked in and said, I'd like a copy of Stormy Monday Blues by Bobby Blue Bland. And she looked at me and she said, boy, how did you know about Bobby Blue?
Yeah, right.
And I told her, about this, 50,000 watt station in Nashville. She said, "Oh, I listened to that as well."
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
know, I kind of miss those days, because it's like you can get any song now just downloaded immediately. It was just, I remember just kind of searching for those. Oh, I still do. I still go to record stores and try to find, something on vinyl or whatever.
Well, vinyl, is really making a huge comeback.
I know, yeah.
Because, there's something tangible about vinyl.
There's art. It was artwork.
Oh, yeah.
The album covers.
art is great.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I was talking to my wife. I said, when I was a kid, the only art we had in our house was album covers. And you just sit there and you read them, and it just. I mean, I love downloading. I love CDs and everything, but it just never gave you the same tactile
The problem
experience.
with downloading is, and this is I think the great thing that your radio station provides is you download the songs you like, and you listen to those over and over. But being exposed to a radio station, you hear stuff like you said about Bobby Blue Bland that you would have never heard.
Well, I actually read a study. There was a study done by a university about why people listen to music and why, even in this digital age, why people still listen to radio stations and and other forms of downloading, where you don't.
Or somebody else picks the songs.
Yeah, someone else is picking the music, and that is that most people say, I don't have enough hours in the day to research all the music I want to listen to. And so they find sources of music that work for them,
Of course.
and that appeal to them.
And I think it's also, it's kind of cool to know that you're listening to a song, you might be singing in the car with 10,000 other people, driving
true.
by. So
It's an experiential thing.
Right.
It's a shared experience where everybody's listening to the same song at the same time.
Now, one of the things that I think is kind of sad, I think it's a case of another story here, but of all the things that used to be free in America that we're paying for now.
Oh, yeah.
And so now, like, we have XM in our car, and so we're paying for radio and all, and it's great, but
Yeah, one of my favorite channels on XM is Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock, yeah. There's some great stuff on there.
Yeah.
A lot of Christopher Cross and But the thing is, I'm hearing now, because of the success of like XM and everything, that the new car manufacturers are going to quit putting AM in cars.
I heard that too.
Well, there's a great story behind that, and that is electric cars generate a lot of noise at certain frequencies. Okay, electric motors. Right, are noisy on the radio band, particularly on the AM band. And they have, in fact, way back in the 30s, 20s and 30s, whatever, they didn't have car radios because the spark plugs and whatnot of a car generated too much noise. And then people wanted car radios. And they had to deaden the noise of the internal combustion engine. And, you know, the spark plug wires and all that stuff, it became deadened so that you could listen to AM radio. Well, electric cars make a lot more than the internal combustion engine. And these car manufacturers that are making electric cars, they say, we can't deaden the noise of this car
so that's
for
why.
AM radio stations. And so they were choosing to not put AM radio on, as a choice. But this became a highly charged political situation because a lot of AM radio stations are part of the Emergency Broadcast Network.
Okay.
And if you take that away, you take away a large part of the emergency alerting system in our country.
And then you also lose a lot of genres that you wouldn't pick up, say, in FM, because, I mean, I listen to sports radio, that's AM.
Sure, sports radio, talk radio, and a lot of talk radio is either far to the right or far to the left, and that's, there's not that talk talk stations on FM.
That's
FM
right.
is more, for music.
Yeah. I still think it's a conspiracy. I don't think it's.
Well, a lot of people.
I think XM is trying to kill it. Yeah.
A lot of people think it is a conspiracy, but the conspiracy is by the car manufacturers not wanting to spend the money
to shield their stuff.
Shield it. Yeah. And there's all kind of. By the way, AM radio, it's down in the kilocycle range. FM is in the megahertz range.
Yeah.
So in kilocycles, the waves are a lot farther apart.
Yeah.
So noise gets into and that's why you hear a lot more noise
Thunder
on
in there,
AM radio because the wavelengths are looser. Okay, so and interestingly enough, because we're a country of electronics, the noise floor for radio keeps rising, and it's harder and harder to get AM, distant AM radio stations anymore because the noise floor is going up.
Yeah.
And in FM, the waves are very, very tight together, megacycles instead of kilocycles. And so the noise, you don't hear noise on FM as much. And except for right now. And it's interesting that we have a 20-year cycle of solar noise.
Oh, okay. Sunspots.
And that affects FM.
Yeah.
And even KHUG right now, recently, on any given day, is affected by sunspots.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think this last month was the highest amount of solar noise from the sun for 20 years.
Is that right? Huh. What is the reach of KHUG, basically?
It's in the Santa Clarita Valley, but there's another broadcaster who allows KHUG to be rebroadcast in Acton on 88.3 KTCN.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's very exciting news. So the Santa Clarita Valley is about, more or less, about 400,000 people. So that's the potential number of listeners that KHUG can reach, although there are certain parts of the Santa Clarita Valley that are, problematic. Parts of Sand Canyon are pretty tough because of the terrain.
Right. Do you ever have any idea how many people are tuning in?
I don't over the air because you have to have someone like Nielsen do that. And Nielsen charges, but their sampling area is Southern California.
Right, right.
And they don't say, well, we're going to break out the Santa Clarita Valley. So we don't know. But I do know that the streaming does give us hard numbers. And the cum, which is in any given period, the number of people that cumulatively listen to the stream, it's about 24,000 people listen to KHUG on the stream.
That's pretty good when you consider, you know,
Well,
400,000.
Yeah, and it's in 156 countries.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You've really reached out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in any given period,
Oh, I see. So your streaming would be worldwide, and you're not talking about
yeah, the stream, the stream. And I remember with taking my phone and plugging in a headset and walking around Milan, Italy, and getting a perfectly clear signal from KHUG on the stream. And I went all over Milan, and it never dropped. So,
that's great.
And that was because I had a good cell phone signal. But yeah, and unbelievable. There's listeners in Russia.
Wow. Well, those Russians know good rock and roll. I mean, come on.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Well, the most popular country outside of the U.S. is Canada, followed by the U.K. And Mexico.
Wow.
And then it's a lot of rockers in the Netherlands. They really love their rock and roll.
It must be good to know that you're reaching that many people. I mean, we have like 7 viewers, so our expectations are low.
Well, streaming 12.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So
But
that's
yeah,
great.
the streaming really has changed radio. But here's the most exciting. This is really. I've been working on this for a long time, and there's a broadcaster with a license that is interested in having KHUG rebroadcast on 97.5 in the San Fernando Valley.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Now, the San Fernando Valley is 3.3 million people.
Yeah. Now you're starting to talk
You'll get
numbers.
to keep listening all the way to Burbank.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so, and that's going to happen fairly soon.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because we have the construction permit to go on the air in the San Fernando Valley.
Is it going to be K-Zap for the first 3 days, or San Fernando Valley?
It's actually KLQS, but it's very exciting because it's the same 97.5.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So when you go through the Newhall Pass,
you don't lose it.
You don't get the
there'll
Spanish
be
station,
97.5, even though it's another radio station.
That's great.
But it's rebroadcasting KHUG.
Oh, that's
Now,
wonderful.
I know you don't like to beg, but this is a quality product that we have here in Santa Clarita Valley, and I know a lot of people don't know about it. First off, everybody, you need to go to 97.5, check it out. It's a fantastic station. I've been a fan for years. And but you mentioned if you want to help out with their licensing and all that, the website's khug.rocks, right?
Yes, yeah, you can go to the website and
khug.rocks.
Yeah, let's spell it out.
Yeah, ROCKS, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
KHUG.ROCKS.
Okay.
And that's where you can pick up the stream, by the way.
And send a check to help Henry out here, because this is good stuff. And I mean, it really is amazing that you've had this thing. How many hours without commercials?
About 54,000.
54,000 hours.
Back-to-back hours. Isn't that amazing?
That's incredible.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
And that's a success story, because like, you could have packed up a long time ago and said, I'm going to do that retirement thing.
Yeah.
But thanks to your dedication, it keeps going. That's wonderful.
Well, I have to say that people that get into their more mature part of their life.
Mature in air quotes here,
Yeah,
Bill, for
like
people
us.
like us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Air quote.
But you know what? I think everybody has to have a passion.
Oh, yeah.
They have to keep that juice
Sure.
going. And
music is the perfect thing for
and
that.
I've always loved music. And this is, I actually thought I knew something about music. And by the way, back in the day, I was in a band. I managed a band, and we played, this blue-eyed soul music and everything. And I thought I knew something about music until I put KHUG on the air. And that's when I discovered I had a lot to learn about music. And the interesting thing is the KHUG library, the rotation of 3,000 songs, I put those 3,000 songs on, one song at a time.
Oh, did you?
Oh, wow.
So these are songs you know personally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't take a chunk and just say, that's it. No. I really have to, love that song.
Yeah.
Or think it has merit for some reason.
And you can also cull out any lyrics that might be offensive, I suppose. I suppose that's part of your worry, too, is that, some of the music these days.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the hip-hop, it's problematic for radio.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that the music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even the 2000s, there aren't many songs that really had to be edited.
About,
Oh,
there's a handful. I can think of Showbiz Kids by Steely Dan.
Oh, yes, I know the lyric. I know exactly what you mean.
And that one had to be edited, because that would, that had the big word, that can't go on radio.
Yes.
And even though you are a nonprofit, you'd still get fined for that kind of thing, correct?
Yeah, well, there's an indecency aspect to the FCC. That's another part of the FCC's regulations. And because radio goes into cars and homes, and there's every demographic from children to adults, there's a decency aspect to what goes on the air. Now, radio has a safe harbor in that late night you can broadcast mature material as a part of that safe harbor clause. But I don't.
You don't want to rely on that.
I don't rely on that. I'm more interested in how good is the music.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
And the music's awesome. I mean, and I've heard so many things I've gone, I thought I knew everything about that artist, but I just heard something new there. So,
I try to keep adding music every single week.
Really?
To keep it fresh.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So honestly, how are you here? Sounds like you should be,
I know.
finding some new songs and.
That's why I was late. But no.
Well, it's a wonderful thing you're doing for us. I mean, honestly, and it still irks me when I talk to people and go, "Hey, listen to KHUG. What's KHUG?" And so we got to get the word out there. So that's why we wanted to have you on.
Yeah, there's not a lot of advertising and promotion budget for KHUG. So it is word of mouth. And, as a matter of fact, I would say everybody that listens to KHUG found out word of mouth from a friend.
My daughter. My daughter was the one who told me about it.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where it's something that we've got that not a lot of places have something of that quality, and so we got to promote it. We got to keep it going. Look to khug.rocks, R-O-C-K-S, and we're excited to hear about your expansion and also the music festival.
Yeah,
So,
tell us the date.
what's the date of that?
Yeah, it's Saturday, October 7th. That's a tentative.
Okay.
Okay.
We won't
Castaic
hold you to
Lake.
that.
In Castaic.
And we're going to have 4 bands.
Okay.
And they're all going to be, well, not all, but 3 tribute bands.
Fun.
Like Creedence Clearwater Revival. We have a band from Santa Clarita that just knocks John Fogerty out of the
Really?
ballpark.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you close your eyes and you go, whoa.
Oh.
And but also, I believe we're going to have Jack Mack and
On the Heart Attack? Yeah. All right.
And they're such a great party band.
They got some Castaic connection, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Mark is the lead singer.
Yeah.
Lives in Castaic.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And
Those guys are great.
they're all great, talented people, and they put like 8 or 9 people on stage, and they have the Heart Attack horns.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's really a great sound, and
That's great.
so that's what we're looking for. But and we're also looking to book some more tribute bands. Probably a Led Zeppelin tribute band.
Okay.
Because everybody loves
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you got to book my favorite band, Snotty Scotty and the Hankies from Pasadena. We'll get you in touch. We'll put you in touch. They're the best.
All right.
The Hankies are great. Yeah.
What are the Hankies? What kind of material do they?
They're 60s rock cover.
All
And
right.
Best bar band. I'll get a quick little story, has nothing to do with anything, but when I lived in Pasadena, they have the Pasadena Weekly, and they would have the voting on best bands and everything. One year, Snotty Scotty and the Hankies was number 1.
Wow.
Van Halen was number 2. So that tells you how great they are.
Wow.
But anyway, well, I'm telling you, Henry, this has been a pleasure for us, and we thank you for stopping by.
Well, it's a
Yeah.
privilege to
Yeah.
be here.
Thank you so much for stopping by. And thank you all 7 or 8 of our viewers, for watching. You can stop by to see us on SCV TV or anytime the mood hits you at scvinthemovies.com.
And we'll see you next time right here on SCV in the Movies.